up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Jada here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Emily in Paris yet again. So it's been a minute since I've spoken on this show. I think the last time I did speak on it was season 3, but it might have been season 2. It might have been way longer than I thought that I spoke about this show. I don't know, but we're now on season 4. They just released 5 episodes, so we're going to be seeing another couple of episodes shortly. September 12th is the set release date for the next set of episodes for season 4. Now, people have definitely had their problems with this show, but I think it's an easy watch because I just don't look at things too deeply. But there are valid frustrations with it, and I understand them. But for me, I just honestly still like the show. Now, I wanted to get my thoughts on part 1 out before part 2 was released, so I'm gonna try my best to get this video up as quick as possible, okay? So now let's hop right into part 1. So after the mess of Gabriel and Camille's rushed wedding, things are definitely in chaos. Alfie decides to ghost Emily because Camille told him that Emily had feelings for Gabriel, and Camille also ends up disappearing, and that's when Gabrielle finds out that she's also attracted to women. Emily is also in some trouble because she needs Alfie to show up for an ad campaign that they started together, but of course, you know, he ghosted her because of the whole relationship situation. So that's the unfortunate part of what's going on there. Now, Julian leaves the company and goes over to DeLeon, where he feels as though he's more appreciated and doesn't have to compete with Emily. Emily also manages to track down Camille after her being missing for a little while. And it seems as though after that whole fiasco with the almost getting married to Gabrielle thing, that she just wanted some time to be by herself. And I think because she had shared her location with Emily at one point, Emily still had access to that location, so she tracked her down and then brought her back to Gabrielle and also her female lover that I can't remember the name of, so I'm sorry. I just know she's from Greece and that's all the information I remember. But either way, she came because she was concerned, and basically Gabriel learns about that whole relationship. Did I say Gabrielle earlier? I think it's Gabriel. Gabriel, right? I don't know. I'm just gonna say Gabriel for the rest of the video, okay? Gabriel and Emily try to fight their feelings off for one another, but they know they love each other. I don't know why they keep trying to fight this. It's like you keep dragging other people into your situation. What are we doing here? We're wasting time. So Mindy and her bandmates get signed to a record label, and I have to say it is a little awkward because she still has some definite chemistry with her ex-boyfriend, and he is still in the band. And yeah, when they perform, you could tell they still love each other. So yeah, but she ended up moving on with her childhood friend that she knew from like boarding school or something, and he just so happens to be the son to the fashion designer, the House of DeLeon. Sylvie's husband is also getting money from the DeLeon family to start his club, and Mindy is also dating, like I said already, Nicholas DeLeon, but his dad doesn't like how she dresses, and he ends up getting himself in a little bit of a pickle with that because he tries to just pass it off as, oh, I'm just trying to be nice by giving you an outfit, but the truth is my dad just wants you to dress more conservatively because he thinks she dresses a little too like provocatively and revealing. So because of all that, he's angry with Nicholas, but Nicholas does end up making up for it by showing her to the DeLeon closet where she could just pick out some items. So while she's in there, a couple of employees kind of tell her about the situation that they have with the weird stuff that goes on with Nicholas's dad. And yeah, she ends up telling that to Emily, and in turn, Emily shares that information with Sylvie. So Sylvie keeps getting calls to share her story about her experience with Nicholas's father, but remember, her husband is trying to get funding from him for the club, so she doesn't want to mess that up. Now, Luke, who also works at the same marketing agency with Emily and Sylvie, ends up getting put on an ad campaign, but he usually had Julianne to help him with a lot of the stuff and planning and all that information, and usually he would just do a lot of the talking and pitching, but now Luke ends up having to be that person, and it's low-key a hot mess, but he does eventually figure it out, and it's hilarious. He's probably one of the funniest characters on this show for me, and I think it works. Now, he's the one that ends up calling on his girlfriend thinking that she was like a Michelin star person. She comes in and she does her little assessment of the food and all that. She's responsible for assisting with how they choose and give their Michelin stars out. So we find out later that she actually got fired from that job because of some insider information being leaked from her. They fired her, and we find out that Gabriel is not gonna actually get a Michelin star because she's not a real Michelin star reviewer or What do you call that person? You know, I need a better name. Anyways, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. So after Camille is brought home, she ends up running into Alfie and tells him that Gabriel and Emily still hadn't gotten together, even though they were both free to do so. So Alfie thought in his mind that that meant that she was still in love with him, but that ends up not necessarily being the case. And I kind of feel bad for Alfie, I'm not gonna lie, because it was like, aw, you could tell it took a lot for him to open up, but it was like you opened up to kind of the wrong person. It seemed like more of a oops situation when it came to Emily. So Sylvie ultimately decides to speak out about her experience with DeLeon and just decides to ask her mom to lend her husband the money for the club. Now Julian is not liking this switch to DeLeon and ends up leaving when they start asking for dirt on his former agency and Sylvie, and he just does not like that. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to Sylvie, I'm done with y'all doing a little too much, and I don't blame him. So they end up having a masquerade ball for a client, and Emily runs into both Alfie and Gabriel and has to make a choice. She ends up choosing Gabriel, she leaves with him, and Alfie ends up kissing her lookalike because Alfie was still very much so in love with Emily, and it's so heartbreaking. But that's when Gabriel and Emily decided they were going to take a real crack at this whole relationship thing. Camille ends up finding an apartment in the same building as Gabriel and Emily is understandably not excited about that information because it was like, girl, please find an apartment somewhere far away from me and my man. Even though y'all supposed to be having a kid together, I don't want, no, we need space. Like a street down or something. Down the street, like just not in the same building. So after Gabriel finds out that he wasn't actually going to be getting a Michelin star, he's like, you know, it's okay, it's all good. But that's when we find out that Camille was probably never really pregnant. Like she probably had a false positive situation, and she clearly is very upset about that. I think that was probably one of the biggest reasons as to why her lover ended up leaving and going back to Greece. She was like, yeah, I can't do this. But now she doesn't really have any connection to Gabriel either. Like she still wanted to have him in her life. I mean, she still can, they could just be friends. But yeah, I think she definitely feels kind of guilty now because it was like, dang, I shared this information. He was excited about being a dad, but now it's like, we never were actually pregnant. Yikes. And the whole reason as to why he even proposed was because more than likely, you know, because she was going to be the mother to his child. So yeah, it's a big deal. Now I am very curious to see what's going to happen in part 2 because it looks as though Emily is possibly getting romantically involved with some dude that she met while skiing. I don't know where this falls in the story, but isn't she supposed to be in a relationship with Gabriel? Like what happens with that, you know? But y'all let me know your thoughts on this one down in the comments. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.